I think one of the most dangerous issues in the world today, particularly in rich Western countries, is related to artificial intelligence. I am not talking about a sci-fi dystopia AI takeover scenario. I am not talking about the internet being flooded with AI slop content. I am not talking about the skyrocketing consumption of resources, electricity specifically, of data centers used for the application of artificial intelligence. Nor am I talking about the dangers of artificial intelligence-driven mass surveillance. Nor am I talking about AI-driven mass unemployment. Well, on that last one I'm tangentially talking about it, but more on the reaction to the prospect of it that it stirred up. Rather than losing anyone by immediately and directly being blunt about what I'm going to say, I'm going to set the stage by talking about two other topics, and by the time I'm finished with them, if you're paying attention, you'll probably understand where I'm going with this all. First, I want to talk about universal healthcare, a stated goal of American progressivism that's been accomplished in most of the rest of the high-income countries on Earth. Though I have skepticism that if it hadn't already been accomplished in these countries, that it would have been possible in this day and age, for reasons I'm going to address in this video. The core policy of the left of center in the United States when it comes to accomplishing universal health care is this thing they call Medicare for All. Avoiding the quibbles about whether or not the actual policy proposal would be more accurately called Medicaid for All, the concept for this is quite simple. Replace the existing system of people having to get insurance through their employers or individually with a single insurance system that's federally managed that covers everyone. The concept is not only would it accomplish the goal of universal health care, it would also cut down on the cost to individuals of health care. It's worth being honest about what the implications of this are and how that would be accomplished. These cost savings would not only come from getting rid of the profit of insurance providers, but also by making a huge chunk of people employed in the sector unemployed. After all, these health insurance workers are essentially tasked with one of three things: finding ways to deny people health care, negotiating with healthcare providers to keep their costs down, or something to support those efforts. The first group is largely gone in the universal healthcare system. The second group is also severely curtailed when you have the government as a single payer with the market power that entails in getting certain deals out of healthcare providers. Then, of course, you have the redundancies you eliminate by not having a constellation of competing insurance providers, similarly to how company mergers lead to layoffs. That's where the lion's share of the savings come from in a Medicare for All system. That's its dirty little secret. Well, dirty to people with bad politics, assuming they're consistent about what this video is about to criticize. Now, I'm sure some of you might see where I'm going with all of this, but before I say it plainly, I'm going to move to talking about one more big progressive priority: climate action, the green transition, or if you like, the Green New Deal. The effort to drastically cut carbon pollution so we stop hotboxing ourselves to death with carbon. This is a task that requires a massive build-out of renewable energy, be it solar, wind, hydroelectric, or other means. I know it also needs to include substantial nuclear build-out, but I'm trying to only enrage one group of objectively wrong people at a time in this video, so let's leave that discussion to another video. As should be utterly obvious, a green transition isn't only about getting new forms of power generation out there. It's about curbing, if not outright eliminating, some forms of power generation, those that burn fossil fuels, for the carbon pollution that their usage creates. It's also about substituting existing ways of doing things with more energy efficient means to accomplish the same or better. One, for example, being simply getting more people to use public transit instead of driving. Any serious shift in this direction would involve the annihilation of currently existing jobs on a scale combined with pace that's probably never been seen before in human history. The American Petroleum Institute has reason to hype up how many people are employed by the oil and natural gas sectors. They say around 10 million. But when you consider the lifestyle changes, again, like shifting towards public transit, but also cutting down on stuff like planned obsolescence, so we don't produce the same thing 5 times just to sell it 5 times because it's more profitable to do it that way, we're definitely surpassing 10 million jobs in the United States alone removed from the equation. Now, in both of these examples, despite the fact that it means putting millions of people's jobs to the sword, those who support it understand it as worthwhile for the outcomes that would be received from it. In the case of the United States, the pursuit of cheaper and more universal healthcare, and in the case of essentially every other country on Earth, when it comes to the green energy transition, less destroyed climate and polluted environment. The cost of jobs is perceived as a necessary evil that we can compensate with jobs programs. Now, many of those proposals nonsensically insist on trying to jam those people with lost jobs back into the energy sector, as though someone who works on an oil rig has some magical affinity for all types of energy production, but those proposals nonetheless exist. The problem is that loss of jobs is not a necessary evil. It's an objective, positive good. One of the greatest goods that society can produce, and basically exists for the purpose of producing. Less labor to accomplish the same task or more. This is even the case with green energy, because not killing the environment that we need to survive in is a tangible benefit, even if we ended up needing to employ more people to produce the same final product, which honestly is usually the opposite of how it tends to actually play out. I am not exaggerating when I say this sort of thing is what society exists to produce, by the way. Coming together in humanity's first communities, if absolutely nothing else, we cut down on the effort that any individual needed to spend on defending themselves from external threats due to the security in numbers, which means more benefit for less individual work. That's before you talk about what can be done through the division of labor directly in production to save time for everyone. This is what it means to be social. This efficiency finding process is what it means to be human. Animals do it to some extent, but the complexity that we engage with it is something that's really only found in humanity. To oppose this process is fundamentally anti-human, in a way that perhaps nothing else is. With that said, I'm going to say what this video is about, plainly, in a few moments, if it isn't already clear what I'm getting at. I do not trust artificial intelligence companies and their leadership. I am not entirely convinced that they're even capable of delivering what they say they're capable of delivering. I have no delusions that even if they do deliver upon the capacity for mass technological replacement of human labor through artificial intelligence, that leaving them to design the world that would follow would be anything but courting disaster, to say the least. However, I hate with every fiber of my being, for reasons I spent this video getting out gently, the notion that development of artificial intelligence capable of replacing millions of jobs as they exist should be something that's opposed. This is not a video outlining a vision for how we do about managing that process of technological unemployment from artificial intelligence. This is not a video about how we prevent electricity costs from skyrocketing from the expansion of data centers that we're seeing with this development of artificial intelligence. Nor is it a video that puts aside the fact that a huge amount of artificial intelligence generated products so far involve attempts to pass off substandard products as passable for the sake of profitability. Though much traditional production also falls into that category of sacrificing quality for profitability anyway. This is about putting a line in the sand to say that if and when we see artificial intelligence produce work that is as good or better than human-created works, though even that is a misnomer as everything we do involves the use of technology anyway, that to do anything but find a way to maximize its utilization for the benefit of humanity is completely and utterly wrong. In 100% of cases, anyone who suggests doing such is a product of someone simply not thinking through what their position actually entails, or exploiting the fact that others haven't to profit at the expense of humanity. It is not even so much the technology of artificial intelligence I'm worried about either, but the fact that it reflects a dumb and myopic view of labor that we had in our society in general, that treats labor as an end in of itself rather than a means of enabling consumption, which affects how we approach absolutely everything, which is why it can literally be, and is in the process of being, the death of us all. Even now, every single time we talk about moving away from fossil fuels, we see some whining about the jobs that will be lost as consequences. We see ridiculous efforts to keep unprofitable, even in our current carbon pollution hungry world, the coal industry afloat to protect the jobs associated with. We see, even more so in the United States and other places, the refusal to automate shipping ports in the name of protecting jobs. Our world is addicted to make work, and if we don't need to do it to meet the same consumption demand, it is make work. no better than paying someone to dig a hole just to refill it. And it is killing us. But as bad as this type of thinking is, broadly, if progressive forces are to wield power, it is catastrophic for us in particular. If we want to birth a new world from the old, there is no place for such inefficiency. Progressives have only ever advanced in the long run by outpacing the productivity of its internal and external opposition. So we have absolutely no room for inconsistencies like these, especially when failure now, with the climate crisis at hand, will be more permanent than any failure since the collapse of Bronze Age society. If you come away from this video with nothing else but a few things, you need to come away with this. Humanity does not live to work, we work to live. And when faced with the prospect of a new way to produce things with less work, it is our job to find a way to embrace that. Ultimately, even putting aside the possibility of simply working less, we can always find new things to consume, which means no matter what technology comes along, there'll always be a way to produce something that will employ people to produce. So let's put the notion that any labor-saving technology should be blanket avoided into a deep grave and focus our efforts entirely on ensuring the application of such technologies is as beneficial as possible to the whole of humanity. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment.